you ever had a friend or a loved one show up in a dream and wonder if it was real? Greetings. Welcome to the Weekly Awakening. And this week's episode, we're going to talk about visitation dreams. Now, the purpose of life is to learn from your experiences in life and to grow from them. And our dreams are also here to help us do that. Now, as I've said before, our dreams are a reflection of how we use our mind. And through examining the interpretation of that reflection, we're then able to understand how we are using our mind in order to upgrade and improve and evolve into being more productive in how we are using our mind and growing and learning from that. There are many different types of dreams. There are precognitive dreams, lucid dreams, incubated dreams, and visitation dreams. And these are the ones that we're going to focus on today, are the visitation dreams. A dream where two separate entities visit each other within a dream. Now, as I've said before, people in our dreams are different aspects of ourselves. However, there are times when people are able to visit each other within a dream. Now, one thing to remember is that even if you do have a visitation dream, it is still a dream that you are able to interpret in the universal language of mind that will have a message for you through that symbolic language. Now, even though every lucid, precognitive, and visitation dream has a message, does not mean that every dream that has a message is a lucid dream or precognitive dream or visitation dream. Just as every square is a rectangle, but not every rectangle is a square. So first off, I want to talk about how visitation dreams are even possible. Well, as I've said before in different videos, when we dream, our consciousness is moving into the subconscious mind. And within the subconscious mind, it is not a part of the physical, which is the conscious mind. And because of this, it is not limited by time and space. So one person here in the United States and another person in Cairo, Egypt, can each visit each other within a dream because the space is irrelevant within the subconscious mind. And visitations can even happen, and most often are recognized when it's a loved one who has already passed beyond this physical life. And that is possible because within each life and after each death, a new conscious mind is born and dies away. A new physical body is born and dies away. But the subconscious mind remains. And as I mentioned in the previous video about the mind diagram, our soul is housed within the subconscious mind. And so as a new life comes and a new body is made, a new conscious mind is made, and it goes away and another one comes, the soul and the subconscious mind remain. So even though someone has passed on and they are no longer within this physical realm, which has to do with the conscious mind, they can still be visited and contacted through the subconscious mind. I also think it's very important to understand how to identify a visitation dream. Because just because it can happen and just because it has happened before does not mean that every time that this person appears within your dreams, it is a visitation dream. Because sometimes that person can still have meaning to you as far as understanding yourself in ways similar to how they are and who they are. So they might still show up as a symbol in a dream that your subconscious mind is using to show you a part of yourself that is related to how they are. And a few key things to identifying any visitation dream or precognitive dream or lucid dream is the quality of the dream. It will be different, more vivid, more real. It'll just have a different feel than any regular dream. Another big key is that the person will not be speaking to you. You may communicate, but if you think back in a visitation dream, you'll never see their mouths moving. They may speak to you and talk to you, but it is not through verbal communication like we do in the physical realm in these human bodies. These are two big factors to pay attention to in identifying a visitation dream. And now, one way that I'd also like to share that it will increase the likeliness of having a visitation dream, of having a precognitive dream, and of having a lucid dream, and just of dreaming in general, will be to write down your dreams. Writing down your dreams is very key. I cannot stress that enough as to how important and how crucial of a key it is to building and strengthening this relationship with your subconscious mind in the way that it communicates with you. For example, I've been a prolific dreamer ever since I was a child, and I've been working closely with my dreams for about the last 10 years. However, it was only 5 years ago when I began to listen to others telling me that I should write down my dreams. And so once I began writing down my dreams, I had my first visitation dream 3 days later. And a little backstory for this visitation dream. A year prior, around Christmas time, I ran into an old friend from when we were kids. And we had talked about getting together and talking and just kind of catching up on things. And we never did that. And then a few months later, I had a profound experience within my life of healing myself of a serious heart issue that had been plaguing me for the previous 2 years. And there was a tumor growing on the back of my head for the previous year. And through different things with chakra work and energy work and things like that, I no longer had a single symptom after 30 days of doing that work. And it's been 5 years now. And this was around March, so it was about 3 months since I had seen this friend. Now, about 4 or 5 months after that, I'd gotten word that this childhood friend had passed. And he had passed from having a brain tumor. And ever since then, I was just so devastated that I never picked up the phone and called him from the time when I healed of my issues until then, because I felt that I could have taken steps to help prevent that. That if I was able to heal of myself, then I could have shared with him on ways for him to be able to heal for himself. And I was torn for months. And around November, when I finally began to write down my dreams, and then 3 days later, I had a visitation dream where this childhood friend came and visited me. And he didn't look like he looked towards the end of his life. He looked like he did when he was in college, late high school. And that's another way of telling if a loved one or a friend who has passed has come back to visit you in a dream, is they will look essentially at the way that they looked at the healthiest part of their lives, the most beautiful that they looked at within their lives. And so in the dream, I was sitting there questioning the dream. Me and him were sitting there in the house that he grew up in, that we spend the most time in, and I was just looking at him wondering how this was even possible. How was it that I was able to sit here with him and we were both sitting here? Because part of me understood that he had died, he had passed away, even though we were in the dream. And if I had continued on that line of thinking, I probably would have moved right into lucid dreaming. We'll get to that in the lucid dreaming video. But I just let it go. I was like, you know what? I don't care. I don't care how it happened. I don't care how this is. I'm just going to relish in the fact that this is happening and enjoy it. And as soon as I said that, he just looked at me and smiled and nodded his head like, good, that's why I'm here, is so that we can just enjoy each other's company. And that really helped me to allow myself to be at peace, to know that he was okay with what happened. And now that I'm even further along in my own learning and understanding of universal laws and universal truth and things of that nature, I understand that that is exactly what his soul needed. Because there was so much that occurred within his life from the time that he got that diagnosis to the time that he passed that probably would not have come to fruition if it weren't for his efforts because of that new knowledge about himself. And that probably helped him to learn and understand so much more about himself and about life that would help him progress even to become even greater as a soul, as a real self. And that's usually why an individual who has passed on will come back and visit in a dream. The majority of the time, it's so that the people who are still living can have relief, understand that they're okay and that they're fine and that they're continuing life and that they're still alive. Their essence has not been extinguished. And another thing about visitation dreams is that they will usually only occur about 2 or 3 to 5 years after the person has passed on. Because after that long of time, that soul has usually begun to fully detach from the previous life that they have lived and begun to move into the stage of assimilating the experiences within that life so that they can identify what they have learned, what they have built, and made a permanent part of themselves so that they can then create and begin to blueprint and plan out their next life of what that they're going to move into. And so the true benefit of a visitation dream is communication. It allows you to be able to experience and communicate with people who are not with you presently in the physical, whether they are present somewhere else on the planet or whether they are beyond this realm. And so if you are desiring to communicate with someone, then I would first follow the suggestion of writing down your dreams and paying attention to them and learning how to interpret your dreams. But you don't necessarily have to know how to interpret your dreams in order to have a visitation dream, in order to strengthen this relationship with your dreams. You just have to have that desire and that intention. And secondly, incubating that visitation. Before you fall asleep that night, calling out and talking to that person. You don't have to say it out loud. You can be in your head or it can be out loud. It makes no difference at all. Energy moves through intention. Communicating with that person and that individual and letting them know of your desire to communicate with them and to visit with them and of your purpose for doing so. And continue to do that. And I would suggest that you do that until it works, because it will. 2 or 3 weeks of doing that every night, I guarantee it'll work, especially when you couple it with writing down your dreams every single morning when you wake up. So that's this week's video on Visitation Dreams. Feel free to comment or send me an email if you have any other questions. And be on the lookout for future videos. We have more on dreams, more on the series and universal laws, and many other things as well. So subscribe to the channel, visit the website, like the Weekly Awakening on Facebook, and until next time, peace.